Ateneans. I hope that you're all doing well. My name is Lourdes Stephanie Enriquez, and you can call me Staffy. I would like to welcome each and every one of you in today's event. I can see some familiar faces from our previous webinars, which is great. Thank you for joining us. So you have chosen to attend the topic, Strive to Thrive, Winning Still Lessons During the Pandemic. So let me just remind everyone of our rules that should be followed throughout the event. So first, we kindly request all participants to please mute your microphone to avoid distracting the speaker and your fellow participants. However, we highly encourage you to open your cameras if your internet permits you. Second, if you have any questions or comments regarding the presentation of the speaker, feel free to type your messages in the Zoom chat. And we are also live on the official Ateneo YouTube channel. So to our viewers from YouTube, hello there and welcome. So feel free to participate through the comment section, and we will be reading your questions and comments later in the open forum. Right. So to receive your e-certificates for participating in this event, please accomplish the evaluation form and make sure to fill in the correct information. So the link for the form will be given at the end of this webinar and in your Google Classroom. So without further ado, may I invite everyone to settle down and be ready for the opening prayer. Let us close our eyes, bow our heads, and feel the presence of the Lord.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let us be present to the Lord our God, who is in our midst, God of all knowledge and wisdom, who inflames our minds with a passion to learn and to understand. God of all creation, who enlivens our imaginations with the desires to build and to create. God of all hope, who transforms our hearts with a yearning for the world of your wildest dreams. We thank you for gathering us together here to praise you by our own words and works. We praise you for the knowers and the seekers, the builders and the makers, the lovers and the dreamers, who are gathered to attend the online alternative classes program in our university. We offer everything to you throughout this program. We beg you, Lord, to bless and protect from all harm all the participants, facilitators, and the organizers of this alternative classes program. We pray that you bless all the persons in charge of this program, that they may fulfill their tasks diligently and responsibly. This pandemic has forced us to create and to expand new ways of learning about ourselves, our country, and our common home. We know that without your grace, we can do nothing. May we be living witnesses of your genuine love through the implementations of the knowledge and skills acquired through this alternative classes program. Help us to live lives of abundant faith, steadfast hope, and undying love during this time of the pandemic, following the example of our
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, so thank you so much, Father Celerino Ignacio Reyes, SJ, for the heartwarming prayer, and to Jack Ivan Nadal for the audio recording. So now, to properly welcome us in this program, we have with us Father Roberto E. N. Rivera, University President, to deliver the opening remarks. So, everyone, please give him a round of virtual applause.
To our distinguished guest speakers, to our Ateneo de Naga University students, faculty, administrators, and staff members, to our dear friends and associates, Diyos marhay na aldaw po sa Indogabos. It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this alternative class program with its theme Cannonballs, Firing Up Dreams, Courage, and Action. My dear friends, we know that for yet another year, this alternative class program, and indeed our whole academic year, is being enacted in the context of the pandemic. The pandemic continues, and some can say it has worsened, and yet we press on. We press on with the work of education. We press on with the work of teaching and learning. And that is why I believe it is truly appropriate that we hold this alternative class program in the context not only of this very challenging pandemic, but also in the context of the special event we celebrate and commemorate this year. That is the 500th year since the conversion of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. We recall how Saint Ignatius, fighting as a soldier at the Battle of Pamplona 500 years ago, was wounded by a cannonball, his leg shattered. And with his long convalescence in the castle of Loyola, this became the avenue by which he would be brought closer to God, by which he would be converted, and by which he would found the Society of Jesus. As it was for St. Ignatius of Loyola, so it is for us today. If for Ignatius, it was the Battle of Pamplona and a cannonball, for us in this day and age, it is this pandemic and all that we have to bear, not only to survive, but to flourish during this time. And that is why I am indeed very pleased and happy to know of this talk and the many other talks that are being offered to you in this alternative class program. This finely curated set of topics and our amazing lineup of speakers show us what is indeed possible even in the midst of crisis. That if we are able to muster our dreams, our courage, and translate them into action, this crisis will yet show us the way to a better, more peaceful, more developed world. And so, my brothers and sisters, once again, I welcome all of you to this alternative class program. May this session and all the sessions in the ACP be an opportunity for us to flourish, to grow, to fire up our dreams, our courage, and action for a better tomorrow. Before we end, I would like to give my sincere thanks to Mr. Sunny Virtus and the Office of Student Affairs team for their hard work in preparing this ACP program for all of you. And of course, our sincerest thanks to all our wonderful speakers who give so much of their time and talent to enlighten us during this ACP. Once again, a warm welcome to everyone. Salamat po, asin, Dios mabalos.
Thank you so much for those insights and warm welcome po, Father Robert. So now I know that everyone is so excited to finally meet our speaker, and I am too. However, let us first watch this video to know about the background of the alternative class program and the theme for this semester's ACP. Since I think some of you here are freshman students, so you may ask what ACP is all about. So let's watch this. Hello there, Ateneans! Here is what you need to know about the Alternative Class Program, or ACP. The ACP is conducted every semester to provide college students with formative opportunities outside of their regular classroom routine and daily schedule in support of the university's uniquely Jesuit educational goals. Instead of attending their class for a particular period, students choose at least one ACP topic from among the offered webinars and e-workshops. Carefully selected resource speakers from different fields of specialization are invited to share their knowledge, skills, and inspire students to nurture their personal development and partake in social advocacies or causes. We thank you for your participation in the first ever virtual ACP last semester, which recorded an all-time high attendance turnout and received an overwhelmingly affirmative evaluation from students. Because of the ACP's affirming results and positive impact, we are continuing with a bigger and better ACP. However, the program shall still be carried out via digital platforms to ensure everyone's safety. The theme for semester's ACP is Cannonballs, Firing Up Dreams, Courage, Action. This theme is inspired by the conversion of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, founder of Society of Jesus. Just as Saint Ignatius was hit by a cannonball, which altered his life and drew him to a greater calling, this ACP hopes to fight up universities' call for students to have dreams, discern, and how these dreams contribute to one's personal improvement and the common good, master courage, and find ways to accomplish these dreams. To do this, ACP offerings are carefully chosen to be relevant to the current times, formative, and mission-driven. The webinars and e-workshops hope to start a conversation on one's life in the pandemic and the varied factors that affect it and facilitate personal and even community reflection and discernment. Who knows? These virtual activities could fire up meaningful cannonball moments in you, their students. At the end of the webinars and e-workshops, the ACP hopes for the following objectives. First, acquire knowledge and/or skills that are relevant to one's interest, talent, skill, passion, or advocacy. Second, relate to share the learning and insight gained from the topic or activity in one conversation or dialogue and personal reflection. Third, examine the importance of one's interest, talent, skill, passion, or advocacy to the development of the society. And fourth, seek ways or opportunities by which the gained knowledge and skills can be further advanced and used for the benefit of the immediate organization community or larger society. For now, we would like you to listen to the speakers sharing and take part in the conversation. Dream, have courage, take action, and don't forget to learn and have fun while we experience ACP Ateneans. All right, so such a very detailed and exciting visual and information we've learned about the ACP video. So I hope that the video presentation beautifully informed you why we created the alternative class program and why we have sustained the implementation of this program despite and especially at this time of crisis. So now, without further ado, let me introduce to you our resource speaker for this session's webinar. He is the University Athletics Director of the Ateneo de Davao University and also the founder and convener of the Mindanao Peace Games, or MPG, an independent sports movement in the country. He was selected to be part of the coach developer program of the Department of Education, where they have been tasked to design modules for teachers and sports club moderators to prepare more for shift to online and blended forms of learning. Coach Noli Ayo made a significant mark in the early months of the COVID pandemic by organizing a series of online sports forum from March to May of 2020. Most recently, this June of 2021, Coach Noli became a published book writer together with 26 others through Winning Still, a collection of essays and reflections of Filipino sportsmen and women during the time of pandemic. Of course, this introduction would not be complete without telling you that Coach Noli is a Bicolano and blue-blooded Ateneo de Naga University alumnus. He was once the ADNU College Athletics Office Director who led our Golden Knights to back-to-back victories, railed heartstrong cheering Ateneo crowds, and championed the catchphrase, values before skills. And to properly set the tone for Coach Noli's talk, here is a message from the book publisher Gang Badoy during the Winning Still book launch. So please watch this.
Book in a school that she loves so much, in a school that actually formed her, for which I am grateful, and all my siblings are grateful. So, Winning Still is a book that is a response to an unbelievable pandemic, an unbelievable occurrence that happened. Di naman natin na-imagine magkaka-pandemic, but can you imagine? Lahat tayo pinatigil. We were all asked to pause. We were all instructed to do not move, do not leave your house, don't even get close to someone near you because there is a virus. It's an unprecedented, uncertain time. And if you know the human psyche very well, it's certainty that really keeps us brave and alive. But I think uncertainty makes us braver. So if certainty makes you brave, uncertainty makes you even braver. So what a privilege to be part of a Monday, Wednesday, Friday group of athletes, Philippine sports advocates, Philippine sports organizers, managers, of course, even coaches. I just strayed into the community quite by accident because I was invited by Noli as a supporter of the Mindanao Peace Games. And in return, I found a community that kept me grounded in the first 100 days of the pandemic. I saw them every MWF 10 a.m. And there's nothing more soothing than a repetitive vision of kind people, excellent people, people who achieve, who are going through the same thing as you. So this is a seed of that. I don't think it's right for me to say sinadya namin or it's on purpose. I think this book is a collective result of people who got together, however different, but the similarity is this. Wow, we're all going through something. Wow, what can we do? Instead of just saying, how do we survive? They actually said, how do we thrive from this one? And what an honor and a privilege to be the publisher of this book, Winning Still. On that note, I would like to read the introduction essay that I wrote for the book so that you also know what to expect or how to properly frame your brain when you finally hold that precious book in your hands. And I begin. The tragedy of this country is that there are not enough athletes in government. Maybe I mean metaphor, maybe I mean literal athlete, but either way, the athlete is the most formed person. Because if you are to be mentally sharp and emotionally sound, your body must be part of it. So it's really the athlete that has the biggest picture of what it's like to be a whole person. If you are holding this book, or if you're about to hold this book and you are reading these lines and listening to me right now on Facebook or on YouTube today, June 25, 2021, or 10 years from now, if you're clicking it, and I'm probably long gone, you might be nodding in agreement. If you are holding this book, then chances are you know someone from the roster of writers. And what a roster this is. Let me tell you, most of the writers in this book probably never really won in that parlor game. You know, when we were children, it's called statue dance. Alam mo yung game na sa birthday party na may music tapos biglang everybody stands still. I don't think these kids won that. Kasi yung game sa party, hampasan ng palayok, spatial estimation of pinning the pin on the donkey, habang naka-blindfold, takbuhan, pataasan ng talon, pabilisan ng kuha ng nalaglag na barya or candy, doon sila nananalo. Kasi yung mga writers na to mabibilis, matataas tumalon, malalakas. Kaya lang yata na-invento ang statue dance para lang ma-accommodate yung ibang bata. No offense to the other children, of course. Of course, I say this with a light heart, but let's get to the bottom of this heavy gravitas idea. An athlete moves. In some way, shape, or form, we know that an athlete moves. How can she or he not? An athlete knows the rewards of winning, of waking up before everyone else to get the lion's share of pre-dawn oxygen. The athlete knows there is genius in repetition, wisdom in teamwork, humility in victory, and pride despite defeat. How can an individual shaped by sweat, rules, lines, obeying the referee, authority, speed, strength, solitude, and crowds, how can a person like that not be a good leader? It's almost impossible. If an athlete is true, an athlete can lead. These days are a little different. The Philippines welcomed 2020 with a volcano forcing communities to move and to mind the tiny particles that were spewed far and wide. 2020 found us knowing the difference between a particle mask and a normal mask. 2020 found us welcoming its numeric symmetry with nothing on our planners. A virus showed up, unseen. A global order said stop, and the world said stop moving. How do you tell motion geniuses, athletes of a nation that recently topped the Southeast Asian Games on an Olympic year to do nothing? How do you tell people like that to do nothing and that nothing will keep them safe? How does this happen? There are no answers. There are no answers. It just did. I still don't have answers. But look, we hold in your hands and we're launching today a book that gathered the men and women of speed. Isn't that a great line? The men and women of speed, the humans of bounce, and the individuals of heave, push, pull, glide, lift, shoot, strike. Here you have a community of living verbs asked for the time being to stand still. In turn, they grit their teeth, however grumblingly sometimes, geared up, woke up, gathered, and let their brains move. They let their brains and their minds jog with other joggers who were not allowed to do anything. They let their brains jump higher, heave stronger, swim swifter, run freer than they have ever done before. For 100 days, the athletes were writers and will remain to be writers for the rest of their lives, for they are today published. Here in your hands, you hold a book of action shots of their minds, their fears, the optimism and grit. Here in your hands, you hold a picture of their internal slow motion. How lucky you are, how lucky we are that we got front seats to this Olympics on print. You get to see the game. You get to see the game these athletes got that no one has ever seen just yet. Welcome to the real arena. This is the soul of Philippine sports. Sit down, get the book, read on, and allow yourself to be led by real leaders. This is Winning Still. It's a book, but it's really Philippine history. Thank you, Philippine Women's University, for allowing us to have this space to properly, appropriately honor and launch the work of all these men and women and the work that's yet to come for Philippine sports. Mabuhay tayong lahat.
All right, so such a very wonderful message from the book publisher Gang Badoy during the Winning Still book launch. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome and a round of applause, a virtual applause for our speaker, Coach Emmanuel Rene Noli Ayo. Sir Noli, good morning po.
Maray na aga. Salamat na maray sa sa tempo na pigset mo. Miss Enriquez, no? I'm not sure about your nickname, so I'd rather call you with your family name to be safe. Yes, I'm just so happy to even virtually be back in Naga. I'm trying to compute. I left Naga 2013. So if you're in your first year or second year college, most probably you were in grade 4, grade 5 when I played my final game as the head coach of the Ateneo de Naga Golden Knights. Allow me to, for the record, let you know that my stay in Ateneo de Naga became so colorful and so meaningful because I was given the privilege to be the head coach of the men's basketball team of Ateneo de Naga. And certainly my experience there, it wasn't just coaching the basketball team. In my years in Ateneo de Naga, I witnessed how sports became a powerful platform in changing people, changing the community, changing the way we think. And I believe in so many ways that what the reason why I do what I do now in Philippine sports, not just in Mindanao, is because I was forged. I was forged in those years that I was in Ateneo de Naga, the challenges that we had to endure, the difficulties that we have to go through. When I left Ateneo de Naga, the wisdom, the learnings, the takeaways, it made me a better leader. And as I shared to you this morning, this project of ours that was, as Gang as sinabi ni Gang kanina, na it wasn't planned. It wasn't really intentional. Itong project na to, napakalaking bahagi na hali ako sa Ateneo de Naga. My challenges there forged me to become a better leader. So when I was given more resources, more space, it was easier for me to perform because of the lessons learned. So again, thank you very much. 208 nanyaon digdiyo, not counting me. Thank you very much kay Sunny, kay Father Robert. Of course, special shout out sa mga amigo ko sa sports, sa UAO, kay Coach Jack, kay Coach Don, kay Coach Nuki. Salamat na maray. So for the next few minutes, I will be sharing to you lessons learned from doing that winning still book. However, when I share to you these lessons, bako lang po ini para makagibo ka mo ning libro. My intention for sharing this is for you to be able to win still in whatever you are doing in life, in wherever you are right now, and allow you to also reflect on how to best move forward. I am not claiming that if you do this, it will give you the same results that it gave me and my fellow writers. But I am very confident that if you learn to embrace at least one of the several things I'll be sharing with you, it might help you move forward. It might help you find yourself more. It might help you appreciate the life that we are all in right now. And, let us all pray for better days to come. And when better days come and we can see each other face to face, I hope you can remember some of the things that I'll be sharing to you today. So allow me to share with you first by introducing a bit of who I am. So nowadays, since I'm also being invited in many virtual summits, webinars, I would always have this introduction. I'm more known as Coach Noli of Ateneo de Davao University. I'm the director of its program. Ateneo de Davao has a more systematic sports program compared to Ateneo de Naga. Meaning, when I say systematic, aligned kami from college to grade school. There's one head and there's a system that connects everything. Unlike Ateneo de Naga that you operate by silos. Iba ang grade school, iba ang high school, iba ang college. So when I transferred to Ateneo de Davao, I felt easier to move because what I can imagine, what I can think, it's easier to move the community together dahil saro lang ang tempo. In Ateneo de Davao, when I transferred to Ateneo de Davao in 2013, the goal for me, at least one of the mandates of Father Tabora, was to create a Mindanao-wide association, sports association, using sports as a platform for peace. And in 2014, together with 3 others, I co-founded, and since then I became the convener of the Mindanao Peace Games. During the pandemic, three significant things happened to me. Yun na yung naihiling din nung last three things. Diba? Sabi ko, and I think this is where my story will start, how winning still can come. Last year, the Bangsamoro government started, institutionalized, and created an office, the Bangsamoro Sports Commission. It's for the first time they created an office specifically for sports. And I believe because of my credibility, my resume in sports and community development in Mindanao, I was chosen as in fact, the first consultant, one of the two consultants available in that commission. And I'm the only one that in the consultant, all the leaders are all Muslims except me. No, and kaya ko yung binabanggit because it means that I was able to earn the trust of our Muslim brothers and sisters in Bangsamoro already because of what I do in sports. It is an example of winning still. Of course, one of the things that I'm also very happy to share with you is during this pandemic, I helped co-founded a company. The company is based in Canada, but we have a global operations and we call Adrenaline Solutions. It's really an organization that provides support for various sports associations, teams, and organizations in the Philippines and outside. And I'm just so happy that because of this, I helped create livelihood for around 10 fellow Filipinos. So nagkaroon kami ng employees. Even in, alam ko marami ang nawalan ng trabaho, but because of what we have been doing, we were able to give at least 10 Filipinos an opportunity to earn as well, even in this pandemic. And of course, one of my little milestones that I got is I was recently chosen by New Balance Philippines as one of the 3 pandemic sports heroes. During this pandemic, they identified 3 coaches and leaders in Philippine sports, and I'm one of the 3. It's the We Got Now program, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to represent Ateneo de Davao and Mindanao in that recognition. However, sabi ko nga ni, gabos na ginigibo ko sa Mindanao niyan, gabos na ginigibo ko sa Pilipinas, nagpuon yan sa Ateneo de Naga. And then nanindo ako inabutan at di ko naman kamo na nabisto, lalo na ngunyan na puro kamo da naka-video. So di ko talaga mahihiling ang mga muka. Diyan nagpuunang istorya ko sa sports. Di man po ako originally nagko-coach, pero kang 2004, nabiyayaan ako na maging assistant coach kang ni Lenny Chapman. June to November. Pag November, nagbalik siya sa US, nawalat sa ko ang team. So I became the head coach. And from 2004 to 2013, halos 10 taon, I was the head coach and basketball program head. Nagpuon po sa Naga ang sa kuyang istorya. In fact, ang second slide ko, sa Naga ini. Sa Naga, for 2 years na nabuhay ini, dula ang Anino. Bago po ako nag-abot sa sports, I was into theater. Dahil ako, ang undergrad ko sa college is Communication Arts sa UP Los Baños. Minor in Theater Arts, major in speech. In March 2006, para maka-raise kaming funds. And this is the first time na nadarami ang sarong team kang Ateneo de Naga, outside Naga, in Metro Manila to be specific, to compete in a tournament. And that tournament was Father Martin Cup, a very prestigious tournament back then. So, ako yan nasa tahaw na nakaputi. Tapos ining duwa kong kataid, mga players na yan kang panahon. And ako nga, maugma ako, to your left, my right, that's Coach Nuki Sabio, the current head coach now of our Ateneo de Naga Golden Knights. So shout out to Coach Nuki kung yakong kadigdi. College pa siya kayan, 4th year siya graduating. We raised funds, and if I can remember it clearly, we staged it in Fernando Hall, Richie Fernando Hall. And then we were able, we had a 4 or 5 days play dates. Afternoon and evening showing, we had 2 groups of cast. Kasi 10 itong cast showing or 8 to 10 showing dates ito. Duwang cast ito. I was part of one cast and the other one, so there was another group. And we were able to raise 50,000 pesos. At itong 50,000 pesos, ito ang naging seed money ni para makaabot duman. Alright? So, dumampas na sa mga panahon ko sa Naga, na-realize ko na ang halaga kang creativity. No? When I say creativity is, daay ka na masanay sa kung ano ang itinatao sa imo. Kung nasa Ateneo Dinaga ako, just to be honest, ang honorarium ko as a coach when I was there was 725 pesos per month. 725 pesos per month. Tinatax pa ito, tapos nakacheke. So, pero sinasabi ko ni sa Indo, bako niyo mayo ning hugot, mayo niyong pagkulog-buot. Maugma nga ni ako na arog itong pigagihan ko kasi napagayon lalo ang istorya. Kasi isipon nindo sa dito nang nakuko ako, pero dakula sina ibalik ni. In fact, dahil sa experience kong ito, nanudan ko ang sarong dakulaon na definition ko kung ano ang magis. Do aram taman gabos na ang magis excellence, di ba? Pero dahil sa experience kong ito na nakuko ako 725 pesos per month, naka-cheque pa, so mapila pa ako para ma-encash. Nanudan ko ang kahulugan, sarong kahulugan ng magis na hanggang ngunyan daradara ko digdiyo, hanggang digdi sa Mindanao. Kasi hanggang ngunyan na ang ginigibo ko sa Pilipinas, dakulo na ang nakakabisto. Dahil sa nakaka-receive akong dikit, pero dakula sina ibalik ko. Ini ang sakong daking definition ko ng magis. Ang magis is that process of receiving less but giving back more. Receiving less or being given less, but you have the capacity and the ability to give back to others more than what you have received. And I believe during this pandemic, ini yung winning still, ining librong pigsabi nga ni na pinabisto mi sa Indo, ini ang produkto ka medyo kadaklan pangit pero may naibalik kami. I want to share with you 3 lessons that I've learned in this process of publishing a book. And ang role ko pala sa Winning Still is I'm the project director. If you will get a copy of the book, there are 25 writers, 1 publisher who is Gang, and Gang wrote the beautiful epilogue. So itong nadangog nindong sinabi niya, nakasurat ito sa libro. Yun ang libro mi. This is the book. Ako ang nagsurat ng epilogue, si Dulo. So as the project director, ang naging role ko is really to conceptualize the project, select the writers, not only select the writers, but convince them to join us. And sabi ko nga ni, kung kamo nasa mundo ng sports, ining mga writers ni digdi, kadaklan digdi mga prominente, mga world champions, mga Olympians, kabali na digdi ang si Heidelin Diaz, ang satuyang Olympic gold medalist. Na sa buong project ni nasa Malaysia siya. So ini pong project na ni, buong kang pinuudan ni kang June hanggang matapos kang June 2020 until June 2021, gabos ini virtual. Di kami naghirilingan face to face. No? And there were 27 writers, all virtual. Allow me to share with you 3 lessons that I learned. And may I ask if you have your pen and paper with you? Check ko lang po kung may mga pen and paper. Can you just show me some thumbs up reaction? Just to show if you are still with me as well. Yun. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Enriquez. I would need your help just to make sure na nadadangog pa ako or nagre-resonate pa ang sakuyang sinasabi. Thank you. Thank you, Alona. Thank you very much. All right. 3 lessons. And I'll start with this. You might have heard of the word, thank you, Kyla. You might have heard of the word deja vu. Diba? Growing up, very popular yan. Deja vu. Deja vu. Kung ano yung deja vu, ito yung parang garo nangyari na ini. Pero garo bago pa, pero garo familiar na. It's something, a new situation, pero garo nakadyan ka na, garo something familiar. Mas popular sa tuya ang yung expression kang French na deja vu. However, may opposite yan sa French because it's a French word. No? It's a French expression. Yun allow me. And the first lesson is this French idea called vujade. Seeing the old from a fresh and new perspective. The Winning Still project was made possible because of a vujade moment. Aramindo, ining nasa likod ko, this is a graphic sketch of an actual Zoom session kung saan itong, I don't know if I was introduced well na ang ginibo ko kang nag-pandemic, di ba nag-pandemic March, nagsipuon ito talagang lockdown, March 15, March 13, nagkaigwang message to the nation si President Duterte. Tanda ko ito Friday ito eh. Kaya ko yan tanda dahil may major event kaming March 14. paabot ko ta sa Davao, ang saro kong amigo, si Coach Alex Compton, dating head coach sa PBA kang Alaska, maduman siya sa Davao to speak in a breakfast forum. Sa Davao kaya, digdi, nag-organize akong breakfast forum. Ito, pinapatiripon ka mga coaches, I host breakfast for them in a hotel, tapos pagkatapos kang breakfast, we do some learning activity. May mga talks, may mga processing. So ang invitasyon ko, ang imbitado ko to si Coach Alex. Kaya tandaon ko yan. So March 30 nag-lockdown. So ito March 15, Sunday, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, nagbalik pa kami sa opisina sa Ateneo de Davao. Kala ko mabalik pa ka to, sabi after Holy Week, may palarong pambansa pa. But of course, aram ka na di nga ni nangyari. Di ko pa man aram ka to ang Zoom. Believe me, bako po akong techie person. Bako akong techie, mapapangit si mga nagdadango kung yan si Coach Jack. Ang gamit kong laptop is a 14-year-old laptop na na-acquire ko kang nasa Ateneo Dinaga pa ako. So 2007 garo ito. 2007. Hali pa yung Ateneo Dinaga itong laptop na to. Di ko pa ito pigre-rebayad. Kaso kang 2019, I was invited to go to London and speak in University of Bradford, north of England, to speak about the Mindanao Peace Games. So marinasan na si Father Joel Tabora, former president ng Ateneo Dinaga, was very supportive. Sabi niya, change your laptop. Kasi I know you are a very good speaker, Noli, but you are representing not only Ateneo de Davao, you are also representing the Philippines. Your laptop is just too old. And modesty aside, matibayan po ako magtaram, lalo na pag in public. I'm being paid well to speak in front of public, in front of the group. Pero sabi nga ni Kayan, dawa na matibayan ka magtaram. Pag nahiling man girari ang laptop mo na medyo may lumaan na, nagkakaigwang disconnect. No? So, pigribayan ko ang laptop ko, maray na sana dahil nagbakal akong MacBook Air. Dahil sa MacBook, kang nag-adapt ako mga technology, Zoom, sinink ko gabos na mga pwede, mas napadali. No? But again, dahil duman sa bagong laptop, kaya ako nagibo itong pag-host ko ng Zoom, 21 Zoom sessions from March to May of 2020. At duman ko sa Zoom na ito, nagkabiristo or nako-connect ko gabos ining mga writers kang winning still. So may shared experience kami. However, ang sinasabi ko duman is the Zoom became a very familiar experience. So naging siyang old experience eventually after 3 months. Pero kang patapos na kami, a good friend of mine, his name is Rico Navarro, told me, Noli, you know, this experience is such a beautiful experience. Are you willing to let this end on May 15? Kasi 21 Zoom sessions ito, there were 12 speakers from the Philippines and 9 speakers from outside the Philippines, coming from Scotland, Vietnam, United Kingdom, Germany, Italy, and the United States. So isipin mo, iba-iba. Tapos na-realize ko, na-realize ba, mayong bayad itong mga speakers ni. Sabi ko, ba okay ini? Pero kala ko, yun na to ang novelty. Kala ko, yun na to ang high kang sa mo yung experience. Until si Rico said, let's not make this end like this. Let's write a book. Rico was our lead facilitator duman sa mga Zoom series na to. Siya ang patibay si Rico Navarro eh. He's really one of the leaders in Philippine sports that I totally respect. He's a mentor. He's like a kuya to me. So kang sinabi niya na Noli, mukhang kaya natin to, but you have to invite the writers because they listen to you. Of course, sabi ko, di man ako nagsusurat, though I am in the process of writing a book. May sinusurat na talaga akong libro para sa Mindanao Peace Games. Na in fact, nainutan pa kaning winning still na ang plano mi in 2023, ipapublish mi itong Mindanao Peace Games just in time for the 10th year anniversary of the Mindanao Peace Games. But that's another story. But again, itong Vuja Day moment came, itong medyo nagluluma na ang Zoom, sabi mi, garo may opportunity pa ni. Ano ning opportunity? Let's write a book. And that's how, around between May 15 to first week of June 2020, I thought about it. I Until I said, let's invite them. And si mga speakers, nag-arabutan at siya, may papailing akong video, itong bangging, first timing, naghirilingan, and I'm just so happy na record niya ito. It wasn't planned, maray na sana na-record. Ano ang ibig sabihin kang Vuja Day? I think the Vuja Day experience can be felt by this experience. I'll show you series of pictures. Pareho lang ini, iba lang ang itsura. Yeah. There are 4 quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you again show, Miss Enriquez, dahil ikang nahihiling ko digdi, can you see the quadrants? 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yes po, sir.
All right. Sige. To the 200 something participants now, sa picture na ini, there is a hidden star. The star is somewhere in quadrant 1, 2, 3, or 4. But sasabihin ko lang sa inyo, at this point, sa picture na ini, the star is in quadrant 4. Can you see the star? Look at quadrant 4. So, gibunin do, bangaon lang nindo sa apat. Sinasabi ko na sa indo na ang star na sinasabi ko nasa quadrant 4. Can you see it? Miss Enriquez, let me know na lang sa chat box. Di ko kaya siya ma-access. Thank you. Sabihin puton mo kung hilingon mo kung anong nakasurat, kung may nakasabi ng may nakahiling na.
Yes po, there are a lot na po na nag-chat na yes, nakikita daw po nila yung star sa quadrant 4.
Alright, Miss Enriquez, I don't want to put you in a spot dahil ika na kaya nakaano. Ika, nahihiling mo ba ang star?
Yes po, sir. Nakikita
Perfect.
ko po.
Nakikita mo, di ba? Kasi sabi da, pag di mo da nahiling ang star, pag sinabi na sa imo ang clue, ibig sabihin yan, susceptible ka sa heartbreak. Di ba? Maray na sana nagkahiriling nindo. So pag na-heartbroken ka mo, bako masyadong malala yan. No, but I'm kidding. It's any related sa any psychological test. This is just really trying to find the star. All right. Next slide. I'll show you the same picture but different perspective. Kunyan, di ko nasasabihon kung nasa inang star. But look at the quadrants again. All right? So now my question is, do you see the star and where is it now? So type nindo again, nas anong quadrant? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Wait a minute, I can see.
So even ang aki ko gusto mag-participate, no? Come here. I'll show you. I'll introduce you to my friends.
It's recorded.
It's okay. It's okay.
No.
All right. Come here. This is my little boy.
Not cool.
So pinangaki siya sa Naga, but hindi na nagdakula sa Davao. No, that's not the star. It's in. All right, Miss Enriquez, nasa inang star? Nailing mo?
Yeah, I can see it po in quadrant 3.
All right, very good. So check mo sa chat box. It's in quadrant 3. Ini ang problema ko digdi. Di ko dawa si arrow ko, di ko nagagamit. So nasa quadrant 3 siya. So this is my last. I'll show you again the same picture but different perspective. Where is the star now? Miss Enriquez, do you see the star?
Yes po, I can see the star but somehow medyo slant siya. Am I right?
Medyo slant na siya. Number 2. All right? All right. The reason I showed you 3 pictures with the star moving is the pandemic disrupted our stars. Diba? Kadto, siguro sa Indo ba, mga klase ako sa Ateneo, ini ang gigibuhon ko, biglang, boom, binago kang COVID ang positioning kang sa tuyang picture. Oops! And then suddenly, the star that used to be in quadrant 4 is no longer to be found. And perhaps many of you panicked. Many of you said, oh no, there's no more star. And believe me, I'm one of you early on. Na-move si star. I'm supposed to go out of the country. I'm supposed to give talks. I'm supposed to go to the palarong pambansa. Ini ang saro sa mga talagang munti ka na because March 25 to 29, in the biggest coaches convention in the Philippines to be held in Mall of Asia Arena, I was one of the distinguished speakers. Imagine niyo yan, ang naimbitahan si Tab Baldwin, si Chot Reyes, and then kasama ako, Noli Ayo, and then speakers from outside the country. I was so looking forward to that. Imagine mo yan, sa Mall of Asia Arena, yaong ka sa tahaw, mataram ka, around 3,000 coaches from across the country. Ika Miss Enriquez, kung ika natawan imbitasyon ka yan, will you be excited?
Yes po, and at the same time nervous kasi yung standard very high.
Yep, and again, Miss Enriquez, in that case, sabi ko nga ni, in my case at that point, I'm more super excited. Gusto ko naman kasi reunion ito. Dakulon ako mahihilig ng mga amigo kong coaches. But then, pandemic came, lockdown came, and suddenly, my star in quadrant 4 is no longer there. Lesson number 1, Vuja Day is telling us, find your star again in the same picture. Baka nagbagusan ang posisyon. And the Winning Still book is a product when we found our star in another quadrant. Sa kadtong bago mag-pandemic, ang athletics director, iyo lang nang gigibuon ko. Boom, 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 boom. Di nga niya, kadto nagbi-video call. Di ako nagbi-video call. Kadto, di ba, bago ang kadto, Skype ang ultimate video call. Pag nag-Skype ka, dapat ngunyan, kadakol na. And now, mas gusto ko pa ngunyan ang digdinan. And sabi ko, I think sinabi ko kay Sir Sunny Virtus nindo na, I only occupy a very small space in the house because in the room, my wife is doing her online business. Inside the room also is my son. Kasi duman lang, ang aircon nilang, yaon lang sa mga kwarto. Pero pag nagduman ako sa aircon na kwarto na saro, harayo na ako sa internet. So nawawara na ang signal ko. Sa pinakamadali, hindi ako sa sala. Electric fan sana. Pero, dawa ng electric fan, dakulon akong nagibo. Tano, pag switch kang star ko, uy, nahiling ko tulos. My dear young Ateneans, I'm sure these times are difficult for you. But perhaps the picture never really changed. Nag-move lang ang quadrant mo. The star is still there. You just have to look for it through another perspective. Our book, Winning Still, made us or turned us into writers. We never thought that we can be. But we're just so happy that because all 27 of us are just so talented individually, when we combined ourselves, we became even more talented. And I'm just encouraging everyone in this school, learn to work together, even if we are mostly in a virtual platform. So that's my first Winning Still lesson I'd like you to share. The idea of the Vuja Day. Pagbago kang perspective na tinawag kang pandemic, nakasabay kami. And ini ang permi kong sinasabi, we are now 2 years into the pandemic. If you felt that you never really changed, you might have wasted the opportunity given by this pandemic. Because this pandemic did not only give us difficulties, it also gave us mga silver linings. Itong opportunities na di mo lang naririsa. Harog ka ni. Di mo lang narisa, kala mo na warak na si Star, oops, nasa a different quadrant lang. And those who find the star quickly are those who can move on to the next level. So my second point and my second lesson is this, and you are all very familiar with the C's. Familiar ka, pira ba ang pigtutukdo sa tuya? Sorry, Miss Enriquez, ika lang ang permi kong inaapod dahil ika lang naka-turn on yung video, and please, I apologize for this, Miss Enriquez. Miss Enriquez, ano ang, di ba may sa Ateneo Dinaga, igwa kitang 5 C's ba? O 6 C's? O 7 C's? Na pigtutukdo ba yan sa tuya? Ara mo yan. Or kung ara mo yan, anong C ang ara mo na tinutok doon sa tuya sa Ateneo? Or pwedeng may tabangan man si Miss Enriquez. Who would like to answer? Raise lang ng hand. Baka abo ko naman para pressure si Miss Enriquez. Anyone? Raise your hand. There are many C's na pigtutok do ang Jesuit education. Yes, Miss Enriquez.
Yung ibaba din po, nag-chat din. We have 4 C's.
Oh yeah, 4 C's. Ano yan?
Competence, centered, Christ-centeredness. Ano pa ba yung dalawa? Anyone help me?
Help please sa chat box. Di ko kayo sa mabuksan eh. Di ko siya mabuksan.
Opo. Conscience, compassion, and commitment to change.
Ayun, yes. Paulit daw ulit, Miss Enriquez.
Okay po. So we have 4 C's. One is compassionate, commitment to change, conscience, Christ-centeredness.
Okay.
Am I saying it right? And the last one is compassion.
All right. And I'd like us to focus competence. No? And ako, ever since I was in Ateneo Dinaga, I think my being the coach of Ateneo Dinaga, being so filled with challenges, forced me to become creative. And don't get me wrong, baka, di ba, sa mga nag-a-adal sa Indo, may kapareho akong apelyido sa Ateneo Dinaga, Miss Enriquez. May familiar sa imong apelyido ko, Miss Enriquez? Pag nagbabayad ka ng tuition.
Hindi po masyado.
Pag nagbabayad ka mong tuition, pag may pirma dyan, may ayo man dyan na nakapirma. He's my father. Alright, so ang father ko is your current treasurer sa Ateneo Dinaga. So kanto, dawa na ang advantage ko lang na ang papa ko, treasurer, aram ko tulos kung pwede o dae. Meaning, hindi ang plano mi, sasabihan ako kay ni papa, de yan kaya, kag budget mi. So then ako kay puhan pang aram ko na tulos. So nakanood akong grabe ang commitment ko sa change. Pag nawara, shift. Pag nagwara, de na magpara hibi-hibi, gibo ka na ulit ibang paagi. No? And the 4 C's of Ateneo Dinaga, especially the commitment to change, is related to my second lesson because it's all about C's. My second lesson related to winning still is during this online platform. Coach, ano naman, smile ka na walang teeth. Yung parang hindi nagsasmile na cheekbone lang lumalabas. May pa akong cheekbone. Di ba? Grabe ang usong-usop ang Korean novelang niyan. Di ba? Miss Enriquez, nadalan mo na ang cha-cha-cha.
Yes po.
Oh, di ba? Special shout out kay Sir Vic. Si Sir Vic, big fan niya ning cha-cha-cha. Isa rin nito si Sir Vic. Saro yan sa mga paborito kong teacher sa Ateneo de Naga. Madali lang. Hilingon ko si Sir Vic Nierva. Oh, di ba? Ang sa mga huriming pagchat-chat is kung nahiling niya na si profile picture kadtong duwang lead character sa Hometown Cha-Cha. Okay, shout out to Sir Vic Nierva, a big fan of Hometown Cha-Cha. Okay? So capacitate, communicate, collaborate. Sorry, wrong spelling, double L pala dapat yung collaborate na yan. My apologies. Allow me to elaborate on this. What do I mean by communicate? Dawa nasa virtual ka mo, keep the discussion alive. Create circles of kindred individuals. Sinishare ko ini dahil ang ano ko sa sports and saka sa arts. Dawa nasa virtual pa lang ka mo, create back to sports or back to arts guidelines. Ining back to arts, iyo kanino mga organizations. Tamang-tama. O sa ang nag-organize kani. Mga guidelines. Kumbaga, dawa mayo pa kami duman, i-ready na ang guidelines sa face-to-face. Last week sana, I already conducted a face-to-face coaches training for 20 individuals. We had it in one of the better hotels here in Davao City. They came from different parts of Mindanao. Organized by the Bangsamoro Sports Commission, and I facilitated it already, and we created guidelines bago pa sila nag-arabot sa Davao. So ang point ko digdi is we keep on communicating virtually, learn from each other, but write it down. And here, this is also very important, initiate dialogues with school officials and important stakeholders. Lalo na sa panahon yun yan. Ako, to be honest, I have a weekly mentoring session with a very respected book writer and university professor based in Austria, but originally from London, from United Kingdom. Every week, every Thursday, minimit ko siya 1 hour. We are learning from each other. Di ko yan na-imagine na pwede pala niyan before the pandemic. But again, Vuja Day, nag-switch si Star, nahanap ko, ito na, nagsiswitch yan. No, every time Miss Enriquez and company, the big picture changes. When it changes, ask yourself, where is the star now? Where is the star now? May I ask each of you to type it in the chat box. Where is my star now? Where is my star now? Can you write it please in the chat box? Miss Enriquez, okay lang ba? Nadadangog ako? Okay man so far?
Yes, sir. And
Thank
madami na din pong nag-type. No.
Thank you very much. And Miss Enriquez, I really appreciate you for this assist. Mas mahalaga sa ko na may naihiling akong video para naihiling ko kung nagre-resonate pa ako. So kung pwedeng mag-turn on yung video si Cedric Paz, makakatabang yan. Or si Christian Joy Sakido, makakatabang yan. Kasi kamo ang naihiling ko digdiyo sa sakuyang screen. At least naihiling ko kamo. Next, communicate. Ano pa tong sinabi kong sarong C? Miss Enriquez? Collaborate yata. Hilong daw.
The 3 C's po na ano po is capacitate, communicate,
Yeah.
and collaborate.
All right. Thank you. All right. What do I mean by capacitate? Understand and discover opportunities online. I know of students who are having online jobs. I have more than 10 students in Mindanao and outside na may mga online opportunities. They set up online shops. They are working for other companies, all online. They are doing encoding research, backdoor services for companies outside the country, and they're doing it online. They are putting resume in Upwork. If you're familiar with that, and they're getting services. They are learning at the same time. Again, when I was still a coach in Ateneo Dinaga, I would always tell my players, your goal in Ateneo Dinaga is not to go to the classroom. Your goal in Ateneo Dinaga is to be educated. And education, being in the classroom, is only part of it. Your number one goal, why you go to a school like Ateneo Dinaga, is to be educated. And being in the classroom is only one part of it. That's why I'm sure if those of you who have seen me coach, those of you who've been in that program when I was there, you know that our Ateneo basketball program was well embraced by our community because they were more than basketball players. They were young men first. And I think nakulang tabang duman that it was very intentional for us coaches to capacitate them with life outside basketball. Second point, in this time of online learning, access to bright minds are easier. Tap them, learn from them. Though binanggit ko that I meet every Thursday with this professor from the United Kingdom, I also have weekly mentoring with top athletes and top mga motivational speakers. We are learning from each other. Regular yan. So every Monday, every Thursday. Tapos igwa akong Wednesdays. And then igwa akong in-organize ng mga online classes for sports organizations. Kaya kasi napundon, ako as an athletics director, makaming atleta, pero sabi ko, di ako nakatenga dapat, di ako dapat mahalat na sana kung anong sabihin sa kuya ni Father Tabora sa kakang Ateneo de Davao. Otherwise, ako man sana ang madadaog, and I don't like it. So I am very empowered. I look for other ways to keep on growing. And number 3, conduct and host learning opportunities for others with the same or with similar interests. And I think duman to nabuo itong Zoom kang itong MWF. Kung mabaano to, that duman kami nagpuan kasi MWF, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And because of that, we became capacitated. We became the community of writers for the book. And of course, lastly, collaborate. I was able to be part of a book. We captured that moment. You can have online productions too. And again, kung nadangog na niyo dun is sharpen your iron. Diba? Sharpen, or iron sharpens iron. Work with great teams and individuals during this time we are all in. That's the 3 C's. Idugtong mo sa 4 C's kang Ateneo de Naga University. 3 C's, capacitate, collaborate, communicate. Can you please type it in the chat box? Ano ang 3 C's? Communicate, capacitate, collaborate. So Vuja Day and the 3 C's. Thumbs up if you're still with me. Bago ako magpadagos, can you please show me some thumbs up? Thank you, Miss Enriquez. Pero what about the others? Miss Enriquez, nahiling mo nagta-thumbs up ba sinda?
Yes po, there are some na nagta-thumbs up and they are also using the chat box po.
All right. Salamat. Salamat, John Irvin. Salamat. Salamat na maray. Thank you. All right. My final point is related to this. Miss Enriquez, can you please read the message there?
You don't matter, give up.
Thank you. I'll show another slide. Can you please read the message?
You matter, don't give up.
Thank you. Next.
Give up, don't matter.
All right.
I give up, you don't matter. I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you, Miss Enriquez. Miss Enriquez, ano ang na-realize mo sa tulong pictures na pinahiling ko sa pinabasa ko sa inyo?
Different words, but different construction and different meaning, but all the same words po.
Yeah. 4 colors with words, reassembled, created, different meaning. What about this one, Miss Enriquez? Can you read this again?
You don't matter, give up.
Can you read it in such a way magiging siyang positive ang message?
You matter, don't give up.
All right. Thank you, Miss Enriquez. This pandemic, bago mag-pandemic, tuod kitang magbasa left to right. You don't matter, give up. That's how we lived our life. You don't matter, give up. You don't matter, give up. If there's one winning still lesson I so learned in this pandemic is, pwede man palang kita magbasa pababa. You matter, don't give up. And for all of you who's with me today, that's one of my final message to all of you. You matter. Don't give up. But you don't see it easily if you keep on reading your life story from left to right. This pandemic, I encourage you to read your story from top to bottom. Top to bottom. Because my final lesson with you, my third and final lesson, is a lesson that all the players and coaches who played for me in Ateneo de Naga knows by heart. And this line has saved me and so many of my former players. And this has allowed me to go beyond the limitations I've encountered in sports. My final thought is this. The way you think dictates the way you act. Miss Enriquez, can you please say this line 3 times?
The way you think dictates the way you act. The way you think dictates the way you act. The way you think dictates the way you act.
The last game I played for Ateneo de Naga was in 2013. It was against the mighty Naga College Foundation. We lost by 1 point in the final game. Many people would say, Coach Noli, di ka ba nagsisisi na si huri mong coaching game? It ended with a loss. It ended losing the finals. I would always tell them, no, that game of mine, I was so happy. I have given my everything. I have given the very best to the school that I loved so much. That I wish, sabi ko nga ni, how I wish na nagigibo ko, iningginigibo ko, na Ateneo de Naga pa ang pigre-represent ko. Dahil iningginigibo ko sa Mindanao, aram ko na ni kang yaon pa ako sa Ateneo de Naga. Ano lang ang pagkakaiba? Natauan lang akong dakulang platform. Na mas napakawalan ako digdi sa Mindanao. Ang napakawalan ako, mas dakul akong nagibo. But again, this lesson, I learned in Ateneo de Naga. And it has served me well. Because, dear young men and women in this call, if you think that you will lose, then 50% of losing is already happening. But the opposite is true as well. If you think that you can and you will win, 50% of winning already is beginning. And I leave you with that. You can either see this pandemic as a big obstacle to a lot of things, as a hindrance to your dreams, or you can see this pandemic as the greatest thing that happened in your life as you grow up. I hope when you decide on that, you decide well, so that as you move forward, you can do so much for Bicol, for Naga, for Ateneo de Naga, for your families, and hopefully for our country too. If you want to reach me, you can reach me in my social media, Noli Ayo in Facebook, in Instagram, Noli_Ayo. My email is noliayo@adrenaline.solutions. All right? So bago ako matapos, special shout out kay Miss Enriquez for making this talk of mine more engaging. You're a big help to me, Miss Enriquez, and I just want you to know that. Thank you. I'll end this with a smile without showing the teeth. All right. I'm good. Thank you very much. Can you please stop sharing na lang? Dahil ko siya mahiling digdi to our tech person. Pa-stop share na lang po, Vons. Salamat na maray.
All right. So thank you so much po, Coach Noli, for the very inspiring talk. Indeed, in this unprecedented times, the entire world has experienced major disruption, and nearly every aspect of our social, spiritual, mental, and especially our physical well-being has felt in some sense of the disturbance. And the global impacts of the pandemic fueled our very own way, our very personal lives. The normal everyday routines were detoured and canceled and everything. So we as a society had to adjust many aspects of our norm to try survive and attempt to thrive despite such unprecedented times. So I thank you for your sharing po. I have learned that we have to strive to find ways in seeing since big picture changes, like what you have said in the 3 lessons that you have learned from the book po. I mean, from the launching of the book. So we ask ourselves where we start now, and learning to strive for creativity, Magis and adding up the three C's that you have stated po. So it is about seeing the brighter side and rereading our lives in a different aspect. It is all about a strong mindset and the capacity of striving to cultivate good thoughts for greater actions and greater possibilities. So I'm sure many of us po have learned a lot from your talk. Thank you so much po, Sir Noli, Coach Noli. So now,
Salamat man. What's your nickname, Miss Enriquez?
you can call me Steffi po.
Thank you, Steffi. Thank you very much.
All right. So now we move on now to our open forum po. So we encourage everyone to share their messages and questions to our resource speaker. You can click the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. And you can also send your questions in a Zoom chat or comment section, and I will be reading them for you. Yeah, and so while everyone is typing their questions or insights, their sharings, let us first welcome our first reactor for this webinar. We have Mr. Rick Angelo V. Magalona. Hello, Mr. Rick.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are, Rick.
Okay. So, good morning po, Coach.
Maray na aga, Rick.
So, may share po akong garo experience man na So, like most of us here, dakol po nangyayari and stuff. And then, yun nga po, this pandemic forced me to become creative. Then, I've always thought of dropping out of school, dakulok, kaya kung ulit lang. Ay. So where was I? Hello?
We can
Hello?
hear you, Rick.
Okay. So yun nga po, this year I've considered like dropping out of college because nakulong kaya nangyayari. Like I have a lot going on to my head. But then it forced me to become creative. So napano ko eh. Garo gusto ko magsurat ng garo mga stories gano'n. Pero di ko pa nasurat sa papel. Like nasa pay ko pa lang. Di ko pa nasurat. So ayun. Garo gusto ko magbalik sa pagsusurat since kang elementary nagsusurat talaga ako ng mga poems, short stories. Then I think this pandemic has given me the opportunity to explore new things or to go back to the things that I used to love. Ganon. So anong garo may tataw mo sa kung garo advice ganon.
Rick, anong year mo na sa college? Third year? Anong course mo?
BS Biology po.
BS?
Biology.
BS Biology. Kasi Nico, ako, habang nagdadango ko sa iyo, nahihiling ko lang itong nagsishift na star. Nag-iikot lang. Tapos in fact, sabi mo nga you find yourself writing again. Sa hiling ko kaya, dakul kitang mga stars, bako man lang saro. Nag-iikot siya. Tapos, pero saro, ang paminsan, ang perspective, taarog lang kani, nag-iikot lang kung ano itong nahihiling kang star. Paminsan ang ibang star nakalampas na, pero baka kay puhan ta lang balikan ulit, hilingon ulit. And believe me, like, saro sa mga tinutukdo ko niyan, ang librong Little Prince. Di ko aram kung nabasa ninyo yan, that I hope you read it before you guys die. No? I
Si Bicol version po nabasa ko po.
Isa ba kung sabi iyo, tama, si Christian Cordero kayan pigpo-promote niya yan, no? Garo si Father Wilmer Tria, si Christian Cordero
Ang Salit na Prinsipe.
Ang Salit na Prinsipe. Ayan librong iyan, Naiba ang meaning kayan, depende kung anong edad ka nagbasa. Nabasa ko yan kang ako high school sa Ateneo Dinaga, nabasa ko yan kang ako college sa UP, nabasa ko yan kang ako nagko-coach sa Ateneo Dinaga, nabasa ko yan kang inaki ang aki ko, nabasa ko yan ngunyan pa sa pag-pandemic. 5 beses, iba-iba ang mensahe niya. So, anong point ko kayan? Rick, ang pinag-aagihan mo, kaiba ka ng mga pigaano mo, may mga passion ka mong nalingawan na kadto. Pero baka, bagayon mangunya na panahon, balikan nindo ito. Baka yaon man duman ang saro sa mga star na dapat tindong balikan. Masakit talaga ngunyan ang panahon, no, na di kita tuod sa online, di kita tuod sa arog kani setup. Pero ako nailiw kani, ang kagayunan kani, pagkatapos kang pandemya, we are all now good online. At ako saro sa mga nahihiling ko digdi, pag ako nagpag-ibon ng mga conference, tuod kung kamo nagpapadalagan conference, ang first half of the day kang day 1, usually getting to know you. Mawawara na yan pag abot sa panahon taano. May Zoom meeting bago ang conference. Para sa first Zoom meeting, dumanan nindo makakaulay ang mga speakers, mga house rules, magkakaigwa ng small group sessions. Pag nagkahirilingan ka mo sa actual conference, pangaduang engagement na nindo ito. Again, Rick, ang point ko duman is, I'm happy you are revisiting your passion. You are writing, and I hope you are doing your journals. Magayon na balikan ini, ano ang namamati mo sa mga panahon na igwa kita nga ring pandemic. Because ini ang saro sa mga pwede mong maistorya sa mga aki mo. Kung gusto mong magkaaki.
Kung gusto
Kasi
magkaaki.
Kung gusto mong maging padi, di pwede man yan. Or pwede gusto mong maging single for life, magi kang tito, kang gabos na mga pamangkin mo, pwede man
Single
yan.
for Christ, pwede po.
Pwede yan. Dahil ako, Youth for Christ ako, Rick. Kaya sinusuportahan ko ang Singles for Christ. Diyos mabalos, Rick.
Thank you man po, Coach.
All right. Thank you so much, Rick, for your sharing and your question. And thank you, Sir Noli, for addressing Rick. Now we have our next reactor. Let me call on Miss Sarah Javelin. Cordial.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Morning po. Hello po. Morning, Sir Noli.
Hey, Sarah.
So for my reaction about your talk, one of the most impactful parts of your talk for me was the statement about Gujate, yung looking at the same picture but in a different perspective. Kasi personally, during the whole course of the pandemic, I've been trying to look at yung mga activities namin, for example, sa organization and also din sa mga goals ko in life. I've been looking at it parang linear and parang walang other way to achieve certain things. Kasi nga, nung na-derail yung plans ko dahil sa pandemic, parang I've lost all hope in continuing other things. Tapos, from what I got from your talk po was, hindi mo naman kailangan na, pwede naman kasi same goals pwede na makuha mo. Pero you have to parang look for other ways na ma-achieve pa din yung goal mo kasi hindi ka pwedeng parang nasa isang window pa lang na nakatingin. Kailangan mong tumingin sa other places kasi you can move around. Wala naman nag-restrict sa iyo. Oo, may pandemic, pero it's not the end of the world. Yun yung talagang nakuha ko. Tapos the way you think dictates the way you act. Kasi I've been thinking, yun nga, from until now na parang yung mga goals ko in life, kuwari pag nag-graduate na ako na, since possibly online graduate lang ako, yung walang masyadong engagement sa physical workplace, I feel incompetent to become what I want to be in life. I aspire to become a lawyer. Tapos hindi ko na naging goal. Parang nawala na yun sa goal kasi nga sa sobrang pagka-pessimistic ko kasi nga hindi ko na experience yung dapat plans ko. Kaya dapat yun nga sir, dapat you have to change the way you think in order for you to move forward. And that's all.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you. And of course, alam mo, sinabi mo nga na it's possible you will graduate again or you might really just graduate again virtually. But I would encourage you to find meaning to it. No? Put more meaning into it. One of the biggest lessons I learned about perspective is from my younger brother. And he's about to finish law school. Mga bar exam naman siya. Si tugang kong uhod na lalaki. So, 7 kaming magturugang. Youngest brother ko siya, pang-apat. Kasi ang nagsurunod, puro babae. Sinakaabot kay itong batch na huring batch sa Ateneo Dinaga Main Campus bago maglipat sa Pacol. Tapos ang sarap pang batch nila, itong huring batch na puro lalaki. Tapos ang sunod na batch na may mga babae na may co-ed na. Magayon sabi niya sa ko na, Manoy, dawa na si masunod sa mong batch, bako na sinang arog sa to na puro lalaki. They will also carry with them a distinction. No? A distinction of, na sila itong batch na may mga co-ed na, sila na itong batch na sa ibang campus, na parang iyo ay, natuod kaya kita sa linear na left to right, arog yan, yan. Nagbago nga ni ang panahon. Pagbago kang panahon, puro left to right pa man ang pagbasa ta, ay mapuprostrate ka talaga. Baka kay puwantang basahon siya, top, bottom. Or, baka nagbago talaga ang perspective kang star. Shift your perspective because there perhaps lies the meaning that you are looking for. So Sarah, I wish you all the best. No? I wish you all the best. And may you find more meaning in your life outside Ateneo Dinaga.
Na-frustrate nga po ako, sir, dun sa picture nung sa star. Kasi wala po talaga ako nakikita kanina. So sabi ko, susceptible ba ako sa hardware?
Yeah. Ang ano kaya, Sarah, pag saro pa to, di ko lang sinabi, pag di mo nahihiling ang star, medyo di mo pa na nahanap ang true love mo. So kung may boyfriend ka ngunyan, haputon mo siya. True love ta ka baga talaga? Oh, yan. Kung di ko baga nahiling ang star, pahilingon mo man siya katong picture. Nahihiling mo dyan ang star? Dapat nahiling niya. Para mapatunayan niya ang love niya sa imo.
Thank you po.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sabi ko na, sir, tama, nasa true love na talaga ako ngunyan.
Char,
Joke
grabe
lang.
pala din si Miss Enriquez.
Alright, so anyway, thank you po for your insights, Alec, Sarah or Juvie and Mr. Rick. So now we will now entertain the messages of our Zoom and YouTube audiences. So please feel free to type them pa po, or you can use your raising hand. Yan. So we have here a question po. Ayos po.
Yeah. Yes, Steffi, I also have, I think si Vons, pwede kitang mag-play itong video. Siguro 1 or 2 more questions so that they can also,
Okay.
the video I'd like to show would be, yaon duman si mga writers kang winning still. Para ma-meet man ido, isa itong mga sinasabi kong mga tao. But yes, Steffi, please continue with the questions.
All right, thank you po, sir. So we have here the question from an Atenean student. What do you consider to be your cannonball moments that made you discover and crystallize your purpose in the world of sports?
All right, I think maritay na po nindo kaya na because I think I'm 42 years old, so I also have the luxury already of hindsight. I feel that in so many ways I've created a big mark in Ateneo Dinaga through sports. Sa mundo kang basketball sa Ateneo Dinaga, my name will stay for a while. Coach Noli Ayo. Especially for those na nakaibanan ko, it will stay for a while. Ang cannonball moment ko happened in 2005, November, in the University of Nueva Cáceres Gymnasium. Taano cannonball moment ko. Di ginagbara ko gabos na naka-align ko. Back then, 2005, yaon ako sa Ateneo. Ang buhay ko sa Ateneo Dinaga happened 2 beses. 1999 to 2001, nagtrabaho ako dyan. Nagtrabaho ako sa Ateneo Dinaga sa Manila. Nagbalik ako 2003. Ang plano ko hanggang 2005 lang ako. 2 years lang. Mahali na ako to join a corporate group in Metro Manila. Kaso kang 2005, nagko-coach ako kang Ateneo Dinaga, nakalaog kita sa finals kang Prisaa. nadaog kita kang University of Nueva Cáceres in the in the UNC gym. It was a painful loss, and I saw how painful it was for our former players, for my players, for our coaches, for our fans. Paano ka to si UNC gym? Kadto nga ni nakulaw na to sa ko. Ngunyan, naghali ako na napapano mi ang Robredo Coliseum eh. But kadto nakulaw na sa katong UNC gym. Nahiling ko duman si kulturang sabi ko garude ko suno itong grabe ang pagkakarantsaw, nagfa-fuck you ang mga, sorry for the word, no, nagfa-fuck you ang mga fans, nagdadaraklag kami ng mga bottled water. Meaning, sabi ko, nadaog na kami, tas iyo pa ni ang kulturang mawawalat ni. Ini ang cannonball moment ko na sabi ko, gusto ko ning baguhon. Pero kung mahali ako ngunyan, because nasabi ko na to na mahali na ako, nasabi ko na to kay Coach Jack Claro, nakapag-iyo na ako duman sa, verbally duman sa boss na nagkukuas ako na mahali na akong Ateneo Dinaga. Bigla ka nahiling ko, sinaghihiribig kong players, pero dahil si kultura, sabi ko, bako ni ang arog ka ni. Sayang kung gusto kong baguhon ini, pero pahali na ako. Pero sabi ko, the only way I can change this is I need to win. But how can I win if I'm deciding to leave? That was my cannonball moment. Duman ako tinamaan na I need to stay. And nababasa mo niyo, Steffi, cheer, don't jeer. Ining cheer, don't jeer na ni, sikat na ni Davao, sikat na ni sa Mindanao, dakul na ni yung nag-iikot na ni. But to be honest, ining cheer, don't jeer, mensahe man ini sa iba, but ining cheer, don't jeer, this is a filtered version of values before skills. Di ko na lang, masupog naman kayong darahon ko ang values before skills sa Ateneo de Davao. Abo ko man yan. Na ini ang dinara ko digdi. This is values before skills. Na binabasa mo lang top to bottom. Coach, bako man bagayan values before skills? Then you are reading it left to right. But when I say top to bottom, meaning going beyond it, this shirt that is found in many shirts in Ateneo de Davao, in Davao, dahil inaarog na siya kang school sa Davao. Tapos paparugon ko pa, cheer, don't jeer. Ton, come here. Can you show them what cheer, don't jeer is? Ang aki ko, aram yan. Kasi ang mga grade school sa Ateneo de Davao, pag nagtataram ako, cheer, don't jeer. Bistado na nila, Coach Noli, bago ako magtaram, cheer, don't jeer. Cheer, don't jeer. Sa basketball, sa summer camp, mga kadakuli na aki sa kamagurang, papatirindugon ko yan, mga 1,000 plus yan. Cheer, don't jeer. Cheer, don't jeer. Alam mo, kung naghali ako kadto sa Ateneo Dinaga kan 2005, mayo ako ngunyan sa aldaw na ni talking to you, Stephanie. Mayo ning librong winning still. Mayo ning Mindanao Peace Games. Kasi kabos na ginigibo ko sa Mindanao, ang origin story kani hali sa Ateneo Dinaga. Sabi ko nga ni, paminsan na kadako like ako, nagibo akong libro sa Mindanao. Nasa isip ko, gusto ko magibo ng Ateneo Dinaga. In fact, may mga kaulay na ako dyan na magibo kaming libro. Kasi parang, abo ko na ang nag-benefit sa growth ko, dahil nag-benefit much ang Naga. Kaya gusto kong, lalo na ako na brainwash ako ni Father Raul Bonoan. Si Father Rolly Bonoan, Steffi, baka din ang kaninong bisto, yun niya itong payo niya yaon dyan sa 4 pillars. Si Father Raul Bonoan, his bust is there. Paulit-ulit ang mensahe niya sa mo, gabos na graduation, gabos na pagtaram niya. Kung ako cheer, don't jeer, siya ang paulit-ulit niyang sinasabi, go back to Bicol. Go back to Ateneo Dinaga. Paulit-ulit, hanggang ngunyan, gada na siya. Gurang na ako, nadadangog ko pa yan sa isip ko. Arog man kayan, pag ang mensahe mo paulit-ulit, ang mensahe mo can become a cannonball you can throw to others. And my cannonball moment was in 2005. Oh my God, I can still remember that. If I close my eyes now, I can still see it. I can still see it when I was in the middle of the UNC gym. I can still see it when I went out. I can still see it when I turned right and went to the parking area. I can still see it when I said, I won't leave Ateneo Dinaga. Next year, we will beat them. which we did in 2006, and we beat them again in 2007 to prove that it wasn't a fluke. But ang pinakamagayunduman na moment, kang nadaog kami, that's when I said, I'll bring you to Manila. Mayong fund ng Ateneo Dinaga kadto. We raised it. Yun na itong pinahiling kong picture, itong Kimang Serapio. Nag-raise kami, naghagad akong tabang sa alumni. Duman ako nakanood na pwede palang mag-raise ng funds. Pwede palang mag-create ng special fund for sports. Basta tultul kang kaulay. And yeah, that cannonball moment allowed me to create cannons. And I taught others how to make them too. And for all of you who's listening to me right now, don't wait for cannonballs. Create cannons of your own. Salamat, Steffi.
Thank you so much, sir. So let me just read another reaction here at the chat box from Regina Balbalosa. So I agree and love the talk. It doesn't mean pandemic tigil na lahat. Use it instead as an opportunity to read books, do self-care, meditate to still win and grow in life. Kick negativities and negativities and excuses. Marry opportunities and goals instead. And then another one po. I also read a book every year, but instead of Little Prince, it's ABNKKBS and Placo in
Aba,
Bob
nakakabasa
Ong.
na pala ako. Yeah. Yep.
It's the same book every year, but it always gives me different insights. I highly recommend reading a book every year as a habit of yours. Truly makes you realize that you learn many things in a span of a year, especially right now in our pandemic situation.
Of course, that's a good book. Siguro crush na pa si Jericho Rosales, who played the lead character in the movie version of that.
And so
All right.
yes,
Yes, Steffi, if I think there's around 20 minutes left, eksakto lang na if we end it by playing that video na shinare ko kay Vons.
okay po, yes po. So I think if there are still a lot of questions or if you have sharing or insight, I think Sir Coach Noli will be very much appreciative naman to accommodate you po through email na lang.
Yep,
Would that be okay?
Send me a message, IG, Facebook, or in the email I sent.
Alright, sige po.
It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who, at the best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
I haven't seen something like this. To me, it's a phenomenon. I haven't seen something like this happen. And it's sayang eh. You have to record it, you have to document it, and you have to move on. And that's where I'm coming from right now. And that's where I'd like to really encourage everyone. Let's push for this. And at the end of the day, when Coach Noli talks about the purpose, then we should be even driven all the more why we're doing it. So that's me, Rico Navarro from Cebu. I'm from Sacred Heart School at Ateneo, Cebu.
So Rick, I think we're onto something big. It's a privilege to work with you in this one, and
No
let's
problem.
make history.
Yes, let's do it.
Nanaginip ba ako? Published photo? Parang napakalaki naman para sa sarili ko. Ano to, coach eh? It's larger than life. Ang pagtatagumpay ay hindi isang swerte. Nagtatagumpay ka dahil ikaw yung tamang tao sa tamang panahon at sa tamang lugar, sa tamang laro.
I have a feeling that this is going to have an impact probably greater than any of us can imagine. It's really the ability to get back up, the ability to brush yourself off, to continue to battle and compete even when the odds are against you.
I want to show everyone, the world, that that the resiliency of the Filipinos, really how we rise above the occasion every time. It's the little everyday things, that make us say, I showed up and I gave my best, and that makes me a winner.
I treat it as one of the gifts nitong pandemic, na to be able to have this group, to be able to somehow show billiards in a different light also. So winning for me is about being able to inspire, being able to be a blessing to others.
Contentment at satisfaction na may ginawa ako, at yung ginawa ko hindi lang para sa ADZUS, hindi lang para sa Mindanao Peace Games, but also for the Philippine sports. It gave us the opportunity to transform, to engage with people and with our families, to aspire to be driven with like-minded people, with the right squares, with the right people, and making those stillness days more meaningful.
The one emotion that I will keep after this is the excitement and the pride in the product that we all put into it, and the love with the friendships that we gain. Winning to me is taking any situation and becoming a better version of yourself together with those around you every time.
Well, I'm not an author of the book, but at least I'm part of it, no? So siguro pwede konti na lang, so 0.5 na lang, immortal na ako. But I feel, I'm part ng warm up. I feel like it's victory. I feel that I've won. Winning is an abstract concept that deep down internal satisfaction that only you can define. Because I believe at the end of the day, you're only ultimately answerable to yourself.
Hindi rin po ako makapaniwala na mababahagi yung naisulat ko dun sa mga tinitingala ko dito sa Philippine sports community. Winning to me means giving all that you have every single time, no matter the circumstance. It's not focused merely on result, but on purpose. More important to me is not the actual result, but what or to whom you're winning is for.
Ang iniintay ko ngayon, yung sanggol na mahawakan ko mula sa pagiging lalaki lamang, siya ay nagiging ama. At yan ay napapatunayan paghawak na niya yung kanyang sanggol. So, yun ang inihintay ko na lang na pagkakataon. Ang pagpapanalo mo ay walang kabuluhan kung hindi mo ibinigay ang lahat mong makakaya sa pagkakamit nito.
And the book in itself is a testimony to that what really counts is when we are willing to break through all our perceived limitations. What we need to do is really to aspire always to overcome ourselves, because ultimately our biggest opponent resides in our hearts and in our minds.
Farthest from my mind is to be part of a book or contribute to a book. So, eto na. Noli, you complete me. Winning is a process. It's a journey. It's an everyday thing. There may be setbacks, but as long as you keep making that stride, moving forward, you are winning.
To be part of the book where you get to share a piece of you, it actually was maybe a good excuse to self-reflect during the pandemic. Winning is facing challenges head-on and conquering all your fears.
Well, I'm so elated and so overwhelmed that I will be a part of this history in Philippine sports. I guess it's the first ever, so I'm really excited and really blessed to be part of this. Winning is being triumphant in my goal and my purpose. And winning is a habit of faith that even I haven't seen it, I believe that it will happen.
Overwhelmed and very grateful to be part of this. Not in my lifetime na magkakaroon ako ng libro na kasama yung mga iniidolo natin sa sports sa Pilipinas. So, sobrang blessed. Tulad nga ng lagi nating sinasabi, maging matino at mahusay sa pagkatalo man o tagumpay.
I'm really also just really impressed at what has become of this and what is, because I don't think any of us saw this book. You know, when this all started, you know, it was just a thing, and this small seed has become so much more. Winning for me is the joy of overcoming.
You know, it's proof that you can never underestimate the power of a strong vision and unity in making things happen. So cliche, but teamwork makes the dream work. But we can totally see it in this project, and I'm very excited in what's to come for not just us but also for our readers. It has always been about the values that we can learn from it, and winning has always been about doing the right things and giving it your champion effort, doing your absolute best all the time.
I'm not even actually at the point that I'm thinking that meron book eh. Kasi I'm just enjoying the process, the journey that we're undergoing. I'm living in the present, and I'm really enjoying each step that we're taking. In the world of sports, winning is very important, but we often forget that the journey towards winning is actually more important than winning itself.
So it's like people are asking you to walk through like a dark cave. Pero because we have this community, it's like walking through this dark cave together with these people, hand in hand. And hindi ko na-imagine, yung mga kasama ko pa talaga, yung mga kahawak kamay ko pa, the big people in Philippine sports. Winning is being able to share our skills and talents to serve others. What better way is there to celebrate what we have than by helping others win as well?
Winning is making the most of what you have and doing the best no matter what the circumstances are. That's winning for me.
Winning for me is knowing I have done everything in my power under the circumstances I am in to become the best I am capable of becoming. I have always measured my success on having given everything I can for a worthy cause.
To me, winning is about progress, everyday progressing, about learning and waking up every day looking forward for the goals, and there is progress with my performance. And of course, winning, it's medal and with character.
It's amazing to see this book come to publication. It really shows how small beginnings can have a ripple effect that grows into waves and can reach people we never expected. My definition of winning is the recognition that there are many ways of winning. The obvious ones are the big ones, like standing on the podium at a competition, but the less obvious ones are often unseen, like overcoming depression or bouncing back after a big loss. Winning to me is a mindset that knows when to dig deep so you can keep driving forward, and also knowing when it's time to reflect, shift, and realign.
Watching it come to life, watching the other authors with their hands on the book is so gratifying. It shows that we can get anything done no matter what is in the way. Pandemic, COVID, whatever, we could conquer it all. Every single day, every moment of our lives, we are winning. When you wake up, when you eat, when you step outside, anything you do, you are winning. You have been put on this earth, blessed to win every day. So you are winning still, no matter what.
Everybody comes into a competition with a desire to win. But winning is never a singular event. It's born from years of hard work, character building opportunities, and great support systems that will prepare you for that magical moment. Ultimately, to win is to find out what you are truly capable of. But always remember the higher purpose.
Sabi nga na, hopefully we become part of history, na makatulong tayong lahat dahil sa essay natin ng isa't isa. Winning is an attitude or a mindset in overcoming oneself, your trials, difficulties, and challenges, to become the best you can be in your given circumstance or situation.
What I really want to give today is the larger picture. You know how when they say there's a pebble that drops in a river and it ripples really large? This happened parang medyo opposite. Parang the large ripples happened and then it ended up in this book, which is our one pebble that we're throwing into the sea of Philippine history. This book is a collective result of people who got together, however different, but the similarity is this. Wow, we're all going through something. Wow, what can we do? Instead of just saying, how do we survive? They actually said, how do we thrive from this one? And what an honor and a privilege to be the publisher of this book, Winning Still.
So that's it. That's the end of this milestone moment in Philippine sports. I just finished an evening of inspiration, to gather those kind of individuals in this Zoom room to talk about dreams, about aspirations in Philippine sports, and to have that kind of feedback from them. I am more inspired to do this, not only for the people in the group, more importantly for the next generation and for my little boy Anton.
Rising sun is the sky, see it open before us. Take these hopes, hold them high. Every step takes you closer. The stars will show us. It's all waiting for us. Every turn a living color. Heaven knows what we'll discover. A story in the making. The world is ours for the taking.
Open fields, distant shores, every anticipation. Getting lost, we'll explore with no hesitation. The stars will show us. It's all waiting for us. Every turn a living color. Heaven knows what we'll discover. A story in the making. At the start of something. Later than we could uncover. Holding on to all this wonder. A story in the making. The world is ours for the taking. Rising sun hits the sky.
Take these hopes and hold them high.
Every turn a living color. Heaven knows what we'll discover. A story in the making. At the start of something. Later than we could uncover. Holding on to all this wonder. A story in the making. The world is ours for the taking. A story in the making. The world is ours for the taking.
Ayan,
Thank
so,
you very much. yes, thank you so much din po, Coach Noli, for giving us the opportunity to witness the testimonies behind this powerful people behind the Winning Still book. And Once again, we thank you po, Coach Noli, for sharing your knowledge, expertise, and time for this ACP webinar. With all these lessons in our hands, it is only a matter of time before we strive to thrive. So again, thank you so much po, Sir Coach Noli. But before we continue, do you have any last words to say or are you good na po, Coach Noli?
Well, Steffi, I'd just like to say thank you again to Sir Sunny Virtus and to his office for inviting me. It please it fills me with pride and happiness whenever I'm given the chance to go back there. My origin story in what I do in sports really started in Ateneo de Naga. Pero miya nagbabalik every time I would always tell them everything I learned and which I'm doing in Mindanao in the Philippines. Na-incubate yan sa Ateneo de Naga. So, and you are there too. Yaon man kamo dyan. You are being incubated. And I encourage you to choose your options well. Choose your options well. The stars are changing in their location. Change with them. The left to right reading may not be working right now at the moment. Read from top to bottom. 3 C's. Collaborate, communicate, capacitate. So salamat, Steffi. Thank you for being game in terms of engaging with me, and I wish you well in your life as well.
All right. Thank you po once again, Coach Noli. So now, to show our gratitude to our resource speaker for accepting our invitation, we would like to present the Certificate of Appreciation. Let me read the citation. The Office of Student Affairs, Ateneo de Naga University, presents the Certificate of Appreciation to Coach Emmanuel Rene Noli Ayo in grateful recognition of his expertise and service as a resource speaker in the alternative class program, Strive to Thrive, Winning Still Lessons During the Pandemic, held on October 22, 2021. Given this 22nd of October 2021 at Ateneo de Naga University, City of Naga, Philippines. Signed by Mr. Rodolfo S.B. Virtus Jr., Director of Student Affairs, Ms. Janet B. Badong Badilla, Executive Director for Mission and Identity, Dr. Alfredo C. Fabay, Vice President for Higher Education, and Father Roberto E. N. Rivera of the Society of Jesus University President. Again, our sincerest thanks to everyone for joining and participating in this ACP webinar. We are grateful for your time and effort to be in this event. So, and to our participants of this ACP webinar, please do not forget to fill out the evaluation form to receive your e-certificate. We will be sending the link here in the chat box or in the Google Classroom. So please make sure that you are writing the correct information. So we are looking forward to seeing you in future ACP webinars. Remember, even in these times of crises, always look at the bright side and be a better version of yourself. Once again, this is Lourdes Stephanie Enriquez, and I am honored to have been your host. Now, this ends our talk to strive to thrive, winning still lessons during the pandemic. Thank you so much po. Goodbye and have a great lunch.